just wanna come alive. Still trying to catch a vibe. I'm shining so bright.
Sleep all day, creep all night. Jesus the only type of letter she'd lie. Living my life, don't ask why. Seems like we been doing everything right. Drink so nice, we roll tight. Catching my vibe on the dark side. Coming around me with negativity, I'm kudo. Them niggas ain't real, man, them motherfucking pseudo. I'm jumping through loopholes, yeah, kudos. It's been a stain on the game, and I'm no removal. I move on cold, down all 10 toes. Know how to get low, we can play limbo.
Just wanna come alive. Still trying to catch a vibe. I'm shining so bright.
Under the moonlight, a nigga move right. Now the bitch wanna fight. Soon as I hit the turnpike, she learned about the pipe, how I've earned stripes. Now she quiet like church mice, thinking about flight. All you had to do was chill, fuck lies, keep it real, control those emotions, cause the money don't feel. We can continue on the mission for a meal. The secrets of the alchemist are yet to be revealed. Niggas learn lessons cause the weapons they conceal. Everybody living on the edge cause of the thrill. We all dance in Wonderland, taking these pills. Reality only hits once you gotta pay bills.
Just wanna come alive. Still trying to catch a vibe. I'm shining so bright.
They think a nigga filthy, I'll never plead guilty. Spend a couple racks at the stove, I hope you feel me. They think a nigga filthy, I'll never plead guilty. Spend a couple racks at the stove, I hope you feel me. I got my back against the wall, I make a couple calls. Pimp this telephone, that's that grown man ball. My program won't fall, trying to forget it all. Spending dough at the mall, acting like I'm within the law, but we outside. Niggas try to get a clout ride, cause I'm bout mine, and I'm never out of time. Won't ever dump my grind. Walk a dead line, dirty money kinda shine while I age like wine. Cause the game's bittersweet. The prison from this ism won't let a bitch sleep. You see me, then you don't. Gotta keep the mystique. Just check the technique. They think a nigga filthy. I'll never plead guilty. Spend a couple racks at the stove. I hope you feel me. They think a nigga filthy, I'll never plead guilty. Spend a couple racks at the stove, I hope you feel me. Back to the basics, problems like my blunt, nigga, I'ma always face it. Ain't worried about expenses, cause I'll always remake it. While I'm rocking the latest, radiant cuts on the bracelet. Intoxicated and concentrated, whether sober or wasted. Shit ain't over till I take it, that's a thief in the night. No bark, no bite, we slit throats and we move in silence. Cause it ain't no talking when you gotta choose violence. I'm on a diet, so the beef is no discussion. We seek the repercussion. Money grows on trees, so we smoke it like it's nothing. Cause it's always something. They think a nigga filthy, I'll never plead guilty. Spend a couple racks at the stove, I hope you feel me. They think a nigga filthy. I'll never plead guilty. Spend a couple racks at the stove. I hope you feel me.
What's going on, people? What is happening? What's happening, Captain? What's cracking up in this motherfucker? Yeah, man. Appreciate what you said. This joint. Shouts out to the nigga Heavy Lefty. And you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the brother Brian over here, Money Religion niggas, you know. Yeah, I appreciate the fact you like those last two songs. The first one was In the Middle of the Night. That was off the Money Religion album. The second one was Never Plead Guilty, which is on the Back to the Future album. We have another album on the way. I found a whole series of modernized, more up-to-date beats that I'm going to be using. But once again, that all depends on, you know, the support line that I'm getting from my fans on what if I'm going to be producing more, because as the world demands, you must take care of your own arse out here. And you know, that's why today's video is named is titled Keeping It Simple. You know, you want to keep things as simple as possible, but that's not how it's going to roll out. You know, as you get older, things get far more complex. And if you slip within the realms of that complexity, you will also be shortening your bag. That's basically just what the rules is, you know. You want to keep things as simple as possible, you know, especially while I'm looking at this whole sports book game and how it operates, and the whole system with the stock market. They're both similar, which is based on, you know, reading the Matrix and what the rules to life is. The rules to life is that you will be in the middle of the balance, and the balance will always be unbalanced, and then it will be balanced, and then it will be unbalanced. You know, I guess that's why they call it maritime law, because it's sort of like a wobbly, you know, on top of the water type of thing, as that's how boats move. You know, no boat stays straight, and no boat is designed to just hang out at the dock all day. Boats are designed to go out in the waters and you know, attack the unknown and be affected by the unknown. And that's just what the bottom line is. As the ocean is still unknown to the to us humans, we have not navigated the entirety of the ocean. We don't know what the fuck is up in there. So don't be surprised if the Kraken or if the Godzilla comes about that motherfucker. You dig what I'm saying? Because there's a large possibility of that. But yeah, keeping it simple is not an easy thing to do. You know what I'm saying? But as today is Monday, everybody's back on the workforce because they're trying to keep it simple when it comes to their finances. But it's very obvious with what's going on with our government that the level of finances we get through our menial jobs are not enough to sustain our living. But when you really get down to the totality of it, it really is by bare minimum. But then at the same time, you know, the downfall to your finances, or where people end up going broke at, is definitely found in your habits. Habits and addictions is what drives you know, you down to the level of poverty. So those are the two main things you definitely have to look out for. You have to you know, place as much control in those areas as much as possible. And what's really interesting about what has occurred to our generation, specifically for those who are in the realms of, you know, around 38 to 48, you know, they have definitely put more so-called enjoyment, entertainments, or, you know, other pleasures in front of us, So we could be addicted in all of those things. And then also a lack of education on spirituality and morality. So then those addictions and other things that we end up picking up, we develop a reliance on each other for that balance. And in the area of that reliance, we have conflict. And that conflict is what's going to drive us into the penitentiaries and drive us into crime, because crime definitely appears to be a lot more simple than it does to work a job. Okay. And that's in whatever industry we go into. If you look into the details of any industry, especially today, you'll see that the scams have taken an uptick when we look at the statistics. Okay. And that's, finding that so-called quote unquote lottery space that we're all looking for, in hopes to become the great billionaire or the millionaire. And we all do that for the social status symbols and to be treated a lot greater than the average when it comes to what's going on in our daily lives. And nobody wants to be stepped upon or looked down on. And the only way that you can guarantee that you don't fall into those spaces is by having a level of finances that is superior to those around you. And but then that also strikes jealousy, that also strikes attack, that also strikes a lot of confusion. It also strikes the social defamation of saying that you have sacrificed your soul to the devil. And which the claim of sacrificing your soul to the devil for to be more rich actually go is very ancient with human thinking. Okay, it's been found even in tribal spaces that humans will say that, instead of just the overt workload, which there's also that category, a group called the overperformer. And the overperformer, who is usually individuals like your Deion Sanders, your Jerry Rice, you might even want to throw in, when it comes to acting, a Jamie Foxx or something like that. You might even want to throw in P. Diddy into that same space of the overperformer. And they attain a level of finances that the average are not going to attain. And through that, there will be claims of being a reptile. There will be claims of drinking baby blood, that blah, 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 so on and so forth. And those claims are very ancient. So, due to the fact of how ancient those claims are, we don't know if there is a reality to that space. And and looking at the defamation that and the ridicule that Caucasians have faced, I didn't really believe those reptilian or baby boiling claims, during the course of my life. And until I studied the medieval, and they were doing those claims amongst themselves before they even encountered the tribal groups and the native peoples of the planet. Okay. And then that's where it gets a little bit ary on if these things were real or not, because there's a lot of things, a lot of ills that we face today that have plagued many different people that definitely have their roots in Western civilization. One of those ills is called the serial killer. The serial killer is definitely found in old Europe and in the medieval times, more so than you find in any other group on the planet. And we don't even have to go into the detailed cases that are provided inside of the Kicked Out of Heaven. I think that section is called the Occult Serial Killers in Volume 2. We could look at a situation like Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is exclusively only European, and you will not find any male slaughtering their own racial group of women or any other racial group of women in any other native situation, specifically done in some occultic ritualistic format. Now, the only thing that will, and we have to say it like that because it was an individual committing this act on random females that were underneath the status of being prostitutes, supposedly. And then it wasn't culturally accepted for this type of activity to be committed. Okay. So, and I had to put it like that because it's outside the realm of the burning of witches, which is done which was done in a multitude of other groups across the planet. Okay. During that same time. So but that was a thing that was culturally ruled and not of an individual vice like we see with the Jack the Ripper. So serial killers and things of that nature are exclusively European centered, and the Western civilization and their influence on all other peoples, which was a forced influence, of course, with the slaughtering of generations and the installation of Christianity. Okay. And then, as we are facing now, a generation, 2 generations later, they want to battle the line of what Christianity is and introduce third parties into the human race, and also try to blur the lines of what morality is, so they can encourage, backward sexual activity. Okay, and that's what we're looking at right now. So all of those areas are not areas of simplicity. These things are very complex, and you want to keep it simple like it was in the old world, you know. But the more socialism that we accept and create amongst us, brings us into a complexity where our simple laws no longer can sustain a nation. And that is one of the downfalls that has been recorded amongst several nations, is that the social system got too complex. And you and also to being synonymous with the social system getting too complex was we didn't stand on the original morals in which the nation was founded, which this nation was, as all other nations, were founded on free labor. Okay. And free labor is just a comfortable word to use besides slavery. And that's what evolved or grew any civilization out here. And that's why tribes, the realm of tribes, because when we look into the slavery system and also the controlling of other humans to do your bidding, we find mass amounts of abuse, we find grafting, we find human engineering, we find psychological warfare, we find a lot of tactics implemented in order to maintain that status. So it gets further, it gets more complex, So there's no real way to just mandate that things are simple. And that is also the drive that, if you're a true lover, and I don't mean in any conjugal sense, I mean just in the reference of what love is in a status of extreme care. Then you're going to try to you're going to lessen the coming workload for the next generations, which would be, you know, having some form of business that you could pass down to the children. But even in the alleviation of workload in the child's life, most likely those same children that you have are going to have an uptick in their emotional complexity with life. Okay, because every generation is going to blame the prior generation for whatever was at a fault. Okay, whatever wasn't given. And in essence, all beings here, especially in the human realm, we're going to go through a lot of emotional experiences. As you see what's going on with Harry and Meghan Markle, they're going through a divorce situation right now, which is an experience that the uh, the poverty-stricken people go through all the way to the royalty. So that includes funerals, weddings, pain, suffering, broken heart, and all of these areas are a mandate for the experience inside this realm. So your children may definitely feel an uptick in that space of emotional experience, where if you alleviate the financial problems that may occur. Okay, because there's really no way to alleviate the emotional problems that are going to occur. And so they're going to have to bump their heads, and that's why I guess a lot of millionaires have taken into the space of not giving their children money so they can experience the ups and downs of gaining finances. Therefore, they'll have a lot more appreciation and respect towards keeping it. There's definitely a wild line in between the space of comfort and courage, and those who go through, um, a comfortable life, they are more sensitive to the environment of failure and what may occur in this world that could drive them into a psychosis because they didn't experience it priorly as a child. Basically, every human is designed to get beat up a little bit, is what's going on. If we really want to get down to the nitty grit, every human is going to have to be a punching bag for a little while. Okay, and it's not to blame anybody for this condition. um you know do I give my boys allowance? That's a personal question, but I'll go ahead and approach it. Do you give your boys allowance? No, I don't give my sons any allowance. Their allowance is to go out there and kick ass. They are allowed to do that, and you will earn. You have to earn. You're a woman out here, you have to earn your finances out here. You might as well start now, and they've definitely say if I was to take my sons to an event with me and I'm selling my books, they will get out there and chase people down and say, hey, my dad's selling books, come buy my book, come buy my dad's books. They will go into that space. um so no, I don't give my sons any allowance. you know you have to earn, and you will earn. However you earn, it doesn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? um you know Straight up. So there you will get caught, doing the finagle, committing the dark arts. And if my boys do that while you're young. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to promote a holy happy atmosphere for, my sons. I give my sons the full roundabout of what reality is. If you want it to feel good when it comes to life, and that doesn't matter what you do, you have to earn. You have to earn it. The only reason I'm able to be in the position that I'm in now is because I didn't listen to what my parents stated at a very young age, and I went out there and started making money immediately. You know what I'm saying? I was smoking weed at a young age, so I had to have my own finances to smoke weed, obviously. So I created ways to do that, and I was selling little metal weed pipes. I was selling pagers. I even started printing pictures of naked girls off and selling them at school. So I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It was going to be money, and I knew what was going to sell. So shit, you have to design your brain into that space of what's selling. So, Mastered and took it upon himself to study crypto for a little while, to study, drop shipping or whatever they call it, and different little avenues. And they've seen me sell books. They've seen me sell a lot of different things. I'm not going to get too detailed on here, but they've seen me hustle. They've seen the bag get broken into Papa's hands. So they're gonna have to earn their rights within that. And what goes on during the course of their generation is completely different than the space of my generation. Okay, so and what I'm relating to is this whole Discord thing, and the hustling they're doing through the wire, and all of that other type of shit. It's a big difference in between my generation and their generation. There wasn't that much of a difference in between my generation and my father's generation. There wasn't too much of a difference in between that space, but because of technology, we're looking at a completely different thing. They both got their own Cash App accounts, they both got their own cars, they both got their own bank accounts. So, and they be buying stuff, you know what I'm saying? So how they get there though, I don't know. I'm not checking that, so but they do understand the concept of earning, and they definitely understand the concept that the dollar bill is the bottom line. Okay, and university is good and will assist that, but it is not the bottom line. A master's degree or a bachelor's degree, all of these things are very good to attain, and it's very good to have a record. You have to understand your record, and they definitely understand the concept of that. And whatever you do is going to paper trail you. That's your driver's record. That's also your living record. That's also your credit report. You know what I'm saying? So there's tricks to start out your kids with credit, which are things I'm going to be doing this year. So um you know there's spaces everywhere, and there's a lot of different things to utilize when it comes to trying to make life simple. But then in essence, it will always get complicated as you get older. For example, it was running across my brain just yesterday on how when you're born, you get taught letters. These letters develop into words, and that's good. That's what you're going to be using for the majority of your childhood is words. But when you cross over, and the 20s is that long bridge to cross over. By the time you hit 30, it's going to be majority numbers that you're going to be using during the course of your life. And these are numbers from your bills, the numbers that are on your bills, the numbers from the amount you make, the numbers on your home address, your phone number, your social security number. It's all numbers that you use as an adult. And that brings us into a space of the green and black, which is the matrix. When you look at sports betting, it's numbers that you're looking at. You can supplant those numbers with looking at the teammates and what's going on with the teams, the coaches, who's injured, so on and so forth. But if you focus on what's going on with the numbers, then you're gonna be more closer towards winning your situation. You know what I'm saying? This weekend, I missed a $250 bet that would have turned into 1,700. I mean, I didn't miss the bet because I did the same bet on another app, but I forgot about. I mean, I didn't forget, but I didn't apply it on this other little promotion they had, and I could have stacked out. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still organizing my method to the madness, as everybody. Um, yeah, it's all the method to the madness. Yeah, a lot of people don't like math, but it does. It's not. This life is not. And see, I'm glad you made that statement, because let's see here. Let's put this up for the brother Justin Anthony. How y'all doing out here? I appreciate everybody showing up. Don't forget, I got the sale going, $100 for the Kicked Out of Heaven 3-volume series, the Black Man's Bible, the Real Nigga Etiquette, and the Ethereal Law with the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, which I'll probably do a show out of that tomorrow. We're definitely going to do a show tomorrow for the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women. And we're going to go over a myriad of goddesses. Okay. We're going to go ahead and, oil the feet of the women tomorrow. So I'll do that with the information that's out of that book, letting everybody know it's a balance thing, and that's how I approach life, is through a balance. So that's why my books are a little bit on the dark side, because everybody's been given this Barney picture that is not the reality. So back to, and that's where we go into the homie statement here. He says, it's funny you say that. A lot of people I come across say they don't like math. But see, the key word in that statement is like. Do you know where like came from? This whole liking shit. This liking shit came from Facebook. They have a thumbs up, they don't have a thumbs down. So they're trying to enforce everybody's brain into this happy go lucky, they wanted you to be Down syndrome. They want you to be the sitting duck, because the Down syndrome is happy all the time. They're walking around, they're walking around, and their brain is wired into the naiveness, and the ignorance is bliss, which in reality ignorance is bliss, but until you get slashed from that status of ignorance, which definitely you are bait when you are ignorant. Okay, at all times you are the sitting duck when you are ignorant of a situation. You may be ignorant through the drive through, and on you're ignorant on the ills that people will commit, and you may switch up your choice of food 3 or 4 times, and you think everybody in the world is happy-go-lucky, and we're all just joyous Peter Pans out here, and you, just because you annoyed that person today, they put your patty on the floor and stepped on it and scrubbed on it and then put it back into your burger. And then, you eat it, and out of your ignorance, you get the tuberculosis, you get the hepatitis, you get all types of shit because you were ignorant on the ills of humans, and you didn't get your order correct from the beginning. And because of that, you disturbed somebody, and that person felt as if they needed to retaliate amongst your amongst you disturbing them, which could also stem from their own personal situations that occurred outside of work. So you have to watch out on how people carry anger and all of this other shit. And all of this boils into a status of not liking, but knowing what's going on in your environment and what the probabilities are for your environment. That's why I don't base myself into a status of liking. Facebook is definitely a blame for shifting the collective human psyche into like this and like that and like that. And I mean, I used to get a little offended when you know a grown ass woman would ask me, what color do you like? What's your favorite color? I'm like, bitch, your favorite color? It's like, bitch, I am handling a lot of things in existence, and you're asking me about a favorite color. I don't give a fuck about colors. A color is a color. They have definitions, and use them appropriately for whatever you want to attract. And I thought that was, but I also understand that is definitely an enforcement towards condensing or making sure that you are in a little boy mentality, because that's what girls like. Women like to understand that you are not in a masculine, defensive, self-preservation mind frame, that you are in the naive little ignorant boy who will run out here and break his leg on the swing. So Big Mama can come with the big tits and make you feel all good, and it requires her attention. You see what I'm saying? A grown man doesn't really require a woman's attention. A grown man requires a woman's assistance. Okay, which by default is her attention if she's going to maximize her assistance in that man's room, which will definitely revert on the man, putting her up into a higher scale of importance, because now she is involved with what he is focused on. Okay, when it comes to the new introductions for humans that assist in the areas of security, expansive intelligence, and things and so on. Um, yeah, the somebody stated that yeah, this is interesting. Let's entertain this thought. He said, bro, from my understanding, the likes on social media were disabled for a time, and a number of folk was on suicide watch. That's very interesting. If we were to cut off social media right now, how many people would jump out of the window? But these are the things here. Are these people who would jump out of the window needed? Because social media is definitely a situation of being self-centered. And the majority of people who are dependent on social media are very, self-centered and into their tunnel vision zone, and aren't considering other people. They're just looking at other people in order to mimic, to try to maximize their numbers or the attention span that's given to them. You see what I'm saying? And if you're that psychologically dependent upon social media, then I don't really see your usage, your need for in existence. And this boils down to a lot of Hegelian philosophies and a lot of other quote unquote Marxism, or what they would like to call dictator type philosophies that Europeans have created, because we don't see those same mentalities on any other native people across the planet when it comes to who has been labeled as a dictator, or hence the word Marxism comes from Karl Marx. Hegelianism is also one of their root philosophy situations for designing the current Western world that we're in. And one of those philosophies out of Hegelianism was, if you aren't in assistance of developing the civilization that you live in essence, you don't have a reasoning for living. You are a consumer. You are a parasite that is sucking off the host, and you are not giving back. Therefore, you don't understand reciprocation. Therefore, you don't understand appreciation. Okay. And within that lack of understanding, not having appreciation or reciprocation, you are in essence a thief, a criminal. You are in essence worthless and dangerous towards the growth of others. Okay. And that's just what the bottom line is. So, there's a lot of what we want to call fat on the bone. There's a lot of fat on the meat, and we like our meat to be lean, because if you consume, this is even biologically, if you consume too much fat on on your steak, there's too much fat, or there's too much fat on the duck meal, or there's too much fat in the area on some chicken that you may be eating, you will fall sick, because the fat holds all the bad bacterias that obviously was discarded towards the towards the consumption, and whatever the animal was eating before it got slaughtered for you to eat. Okay. The definition of fat is the body not recognizing what this bacteria or chemicals is that is attached to the food that you're consuming. So the body doesn't know how to uh, discard of it. So it will store in other places inside your body. You know, that's just a simple definition of what fat is. You see, it's grease, and is basically foreign for the internal of your body to read. Okay, so we don't know what the fuck it is. So anybody who's eating a lot of Skittles, or eating a lot of M&Ms, or eating a lot of Lucky Charms, eating a lot of color dyes, which are definitely foreign to the human consumption understanding, our body, they're going to be fat. And a lot of color shit out of the Starbucks, a lot of weird color popsicle type shit, and different weird ice creams and shit with all these chemicals in it. If you eat a lot of those things, your body, you will become great big back. You will have what I have created in the Latin term, longest backitis. Okay, is what will occur. All right. So, and we don't need any, foreign elements. And I mean, basically, if you want to look at what's occurring, yeah, Fanta, Kool-Aid, things of that nature, um, yeah, Hegelianism, I forgot dude's first name, but let me look it up real quick. Uh Hegelianism got some strong philosophies. Dude was a beast. The Hegelian dialectic. Here it is right here. Yeah, George Wilhelm Friedrich. If you say it in the German way, because that's German name. Um, George Hegel is his name. Okay. and they created a lot of these, they pay attention to their philosophy, they philosophers, unfortunately the black race is just now discovering what a philosopher is, and that's a very dangerous, I mean, it's not dangerous, but it's we're behind, basically. And and we're so far behind that if firm philosopher was to arise today, which is one that you're looking at right now, black people wouldn't know how to take care of that. And the philosopher is definitely needed for the further advancement of a group, because they are the ones who not only have attained an experience line, but also have attained the book reading to properly observe a situation and predict, or to note the conclusions of the human behavior and the socialisms in between, which could be which is, you know which you bring a perfection to, a design to, in order to encourage that advancement. Okay, so philosophers have always been needed. That's what Confucius was for the Chinese people. Confucius brought an observation of the people that was admired by royalty, and therefore was implemented, and they've been operating underneath Confucius philosophy for a very long time. In Western civilization, we have to understand that there has been philosophers in not only Greek philosophy, but there's also Roman philosophers. Specifically, when we look at the senators and all of the things of the Republic that was designed in Rome, and then we have the medieval philosophers as well. The majority of medieval philosophers stem from not only the statements of royalty, but also the philosophers of Catholicism. And this is what when we find the papals of the Catholic Church, um, which stem in all time periods. That's Rome and medieval. Okay, so we have to understand philosophy is very, very, very important. Have we found the Western civilization philosophers for the statements that were being made during the the transatlantic slave trade? I don't believe I've ever heard of anybody who's done that. But what we did bring up is those philosophers, sort of like Frederick Douglass, out of the last time period, and make us feel like we have somebody great. That would be Frederick Douglass, your W.E.B. Du Bois, and many other unnamed individuals. There's your Ida B. Wells, your Sojourner Truth, and so on and so forth. But what was who were the philosophers during the slave trade on the European side? Which you best believe there was many, because there was a lot of activity going on, and a lot of this, and I'm pretty guaranteed that the philosophies um of that time period were based in the operations of how to control black people, and also what would be the wise advancements for government during those times. Okay, and you know for instance, I think I forgot what president it was inside the movie. What was that movie? I think it was with Mel Gibson. It was a Civil War movie, and the president said, "I don't know um, what you want written down for your presidency." And he was speaking to Abe Lincoln, the prior president, which I do believe was Martin Van Buren. Don't quote me on that. Hold on, let me see here. Before Abraham. Oh, okay. It was James Buchanan, okay, who was the president before Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, he served immediately prior to the American Civil War. And in the movie, he stated clearly, as he was talking to Abraham Lincoln, he was like, I don't know. Yeah, the movie was called The Patriot. Thank you for that, brother. He was like, I don't know what you want written down for, in the future about your presidency, but I'm not going down as the president who had, you know, two sections of the nation going to war underneath my presidency. And he didn't allow that. And what that statement right there is letting you know is you need to pay attention to how you will be viewed in the future. Okay. For instance, I've written a lot of crazy books with a lot of information in it, and that are not canny to the politically correct view of today. So in the future, how will people look at, the books that I've written? They may look at it as, oh, he was angry, he was vicious. They may look at it as, oh, he was a pervert. They may look at it in a lot of different avenues. But what you can't look past is the amount of work that was done. And there's definitely an adjustment that was needed with society and the element of lying and the whole reliance for um people to be in the space of everything is Barney and everything is good is to also have a focus of the maintenance of lying. Okay, because everything isn't good and there's always a balance to what outcomes may be considered. Okay. So when it comes to your pros and your cons, you need to observe both. And this is a law of business. If your cons outweigh your pros, then you don't, roll the dice. If there isn't a gain from what you were doing, then there is no means in doing it. The risk is not greater than the reward. And these are things that, and to be focused on a liking mentality is definitely a mental space that is enforced and encouraged so people can remain in a poverty space. Because at all times in business, you have to outweigh the cons and the pros. And what's really interesting about this is that, our beautiful ladies, they have a psychic skill. And when you are highly connected with a woman, she would definitely be able to hear your thoughts. And sometimes if you have a woman who has a high level anxiety brain, or she's a runner, she's a track star, and she can hear your thoughts, and you as a man have to weigh out your cons first before you weigh out your pros, which is required for male thinking to provide the quote unquote safe space and protection that men are designed to do. We have to think in the con space before we think in our pro space. We have to outweigh both elements. And if your woman is psychic and you have that beautiful psychic connection with each other, and she can hear your con, she's going to think, oh, you're a negative thinker, blah, 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 blah. And, she'll just go ahead and run away from the situation, because in essence that is the status of a coward, and she has not been taught, you know um that everything isn't fucking peaches and cream out here in this planet. Here's a question I'll go ahead and entertain. The brother Gregory says, do you believe billionaires should exist? That's a difficult one. You've earned what you've earned in this existence, and you should definitely be able to, you know, have fun, I guess, within the status of finances that you have earned. But at the same time, we have a bigger existence issue today that is definitely a responsibility for us all, and that's called the human picture. And when we get down to it, if you want to get down to the hardcore knit grit, um, we can advance the human picture and we can have a better fuse of technology, considering everybody's intellect on how these things should occur, which definitely won't occur in that format because, Europeans have, enforced that they be at the lead and have stayed in the space of the lead, even with the space of billions. Okay. And in order for that to happen, there's going to have to be an exception of the human paradigm of the entirety of it. But one thing that anybody who is once again a philosopher and have observed, human behavior, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what race you're in, it doesn't matter what religion you are in, there will always be the provocateur. The provocateur will be born who will cause division. When you understand this on an astrological level, some humans are born to be great thief, they are born to be great murderer, they are born to be great dictator, they are born to bring disease. Okay. And there are, and that is the way the great mathematician who designed astrology, the system that designs our first body, the soul of the human before they are born, has set this thing up. Okay. There will always be the yin, there will always be the yang, there will always be the favored, there will always be the underdog, there will always be the neglected, there will always be the response from the trauma, there will always be an individual um who is not satisfied, the dissatisfied, you know um you know um yeah, the dissatisfied. There will always be the complainer. Okay. And out of this complaint and dissatisfaction, we will have invention. Out of those who have been murdered, there will be replacements. Out of those who have been found with a disease and plagued with other ailments, say psychological, we have the mental illness. There will be cures that are found, there will be miracles, there will be a system of hope that is created for the human, and you will find this, you know throughout all of, civilizations, tribes, whatever time periods on this planet. So because there will be that division, to have a benevolent, planet where everybody is making sure, we all have a billion and we are all healthy, or maybe we delete the monetary system and we focus on the health of the planet, there will always be one that will destroy, that is born to destroy. And that is, clearly throughout history. So what happens when you read a lot of history, you get to a point where you begin to understand that you're just looking at psychology and sociology, because there is repeats in our activity. And one of the main things you need to know about history is that man learns from history, that man does not learn from history. Because we repeat the same fucking bullshit. You dig what I'm saying? Um, so let's entertain this question real quick. It's a statement, but we're gonna go ahead and turn it into a question. A psychic connection with your woman leaves you in a position to be manipulated. Not necessarily. Um, you know, it doesn't really. Um, it doesn't do that. The psychic connection that you have with your mate is definitely can be put into a fun space. This is definitely the situation where you're out in public and you both see something that is going to make you both laugh, and all you have to do is glance at each other and we understand the inside joke, and we both laugh at the inside joke, and we can expound on it later. The space of there for number one, never look at your woman as, somebody who can attack you, because you are the stronger vessel as a man. Okay. And that's definitely physically and also in the space of experience. and that also depends on what the experiences are related, because men and women have two different experience lines for sure. But never look at it as a thing as um a woman can manipulate you as a man. If a woman can manipulate you as a man, that means you aren't more experienced in the areas of business. Okay, because when you understand what goes on and how business operates, there is no manipulation that goes down. For instance, I'll take me for example. I understand how the business of music operates. You see what I'm saying? The only true manipulation that could be occurring would be, I need a entertainment auditor for my music on the different streaming platforms, which is a situation that everybody by default falls into. Besides that, I'm not underneath anybody's paperwork. I own the masters to all the music that I produced. You know, I control my whole management situation. I control everything in those areas. So because, I understand business, I'm definitely can't be manipulated by a female, and that's what the bottom line lies upon, is going to be business and your finances. So the whole thing about being manipulated by a mate is going to be based into one area, if you have joint bank accounts or if you don't. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have finances and you can continuously make your own finances without your woman, you see, then you're not in a position to lose. The big loser position is going to be poverty in this situation. Anything else is all emotional bullshit. You see what I'm saying? um your woman, and a woman that gets into a relationship with you, and that it's thorough love by your communication styles with each other, she isn't going to manipulate you. She doesn't have that intention. And usually, if those activities do pick up, they usually come from how she was raised and the things she observed when she was raised, or what her mother may have taught her, which those things can be deprogrammed or reprogrammed only if she wants them to be. You see, so never look at a female as somebody that has an intention to attack you, even though that's what the next generation may be, indirectly and directly teaching little girls to do to men. So but at the end of the day, this is all emotional areas that they're playing around in, and have nothing to do with you paying your bills. Okay, so the paying of bills is the true bottom line. Whose name is on the lease is the true bottom line. Anything else is all emotional bullshit. And if you get caught up into that emotional realm, which the majority of emotions are negative, you may result into this status of domestic violence and being locked up and all this other crazy shit, because you haven't been through enough women to understand what the connection lines are, what you may have to do to attain the goal, which the goal is rolling her eyes in the back of the ear, her head, and have her fucking toes in her ears. You understand me? That is the goal. And if you haven't achieved that goal with during the course of your adolescence, and when you're a young buck out here, then you're going to have your emotions manipulated as an adult, because you don't know what type of woman you're looking at or getting involved in, because you haven't had enough experience with them. You see what I'm saying? So attain as much experience as possible in all things, and you won't be able to be manipulated in anything, because you will have seen the styles of manipulation. You will hear the upsets and the failures of your superiors, and those who are older, your elders, basically, is what I should say, and in those areas, and they'll tell you the stories, and use another man's faults for your gains. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you don't go down the route of what they've gone through. But don't look at women as some form of attacking uh female. Okay, because if they do try to attack, it'll definitely come out in a financial format. There's no other way they could attack you besides finances. No, what other way can they attack you? There are, you doing their bidding. This isn't the day and age where you need to go out there and plow wheat or anything. So how could a female manipulate you, you know, besides dough, money, you know what I'm saying? And if you got the money, give it to her. Who cares? Because this is charity, and you need to give charity to the beggar. She has put herself in the space of being a pretty beggar. So go ahead and give charity to the pretty beggar, and this will be seen by God, and you will be given, grace and mercy in many things. You will be given, more finances to replace what you have given out. Okay, so let a beggar be a beggar. If there is no dignity and integrity upon the actions that on how they communicate with others, let them be. Let a bum be a bum. It's not going to disturb you or hurt you in any way. You know what I'm saying? So always know that. Um, yeah, I'm glad I said that. I want don't I be out here, looking at, because eh, they're a victim of their circumstance, a victim of their environment. There's tons of women out here who are raising, um, single children who don't have any siblings. And when they do it, they're intentionally doing it with, oh yeah, I'm not gonna bring no father around. I'm not gonna bring no man around. I'm not gonna bring no, all of that type of shit and it ends up designing a very cold individual who doesn't understand anything about affection, who doesn't understand anything about communication and agreements, who doesn't understand anything about, the energy that a female feels on the spiking of her nerves when she is told to do something. A lot of people may look at me as crazy when I say, "Oh yeah, mammy better make some flapjacks up in here." If you say that to a girl, they'll just look at you and smile. They're gonna like that type of talk, because deep down, you know, the entity or caricature or stereotype that is installed in a woman's mind frame of a male is some ferocious big killer psycho type of dude. Okay, and I don't mean in essence of killer ravaging blood from the teeth. No, not all of that. Killer in order to protect her. Okay, that's the whole thing. A woman wants to know, she's going to test your battleground skills, okay, um in order to reinforce that you can protect her. That's why women don't like cheating, because the whole cheating shows that, for number one, it's a mysterious space on what you have done to attain the other female. Okay, and that mysterious space could also be the interrupter of the love that you supposed to have for her. That's why if you're gonna go cheat, go do it to remind yourself that you can, catch a piece of meat. Okay, and you know um slaughter the meat, and that's it. Don't go into no space of taking no broad out on no date and buying no flowers and all that other shit. Do it exclusively on the maintenance of your dominance, the maintenance on your masculinity, because being with one woman, and this has been scientifically proven, actually breaks down your testosterone levels and breaks down your whole hoorah essence that the woman was attracted to when she saw you, because when she saw you, you were single, and now you have been caught. And like some beings, specifically the cat, the house cat, the domesticated cat, likes to go out and catch beings and likes to play with the chipmunk or whatever, and then kills it and then doesn't necessarily eat it. It is a toy that, once the toy is caught and now is pronounced dead, no longer brings any fun. So this is what happens. And sometimes the, the on the flip side of the same coin, you find the situation where the woman chases you like the dog chases a car, and then when she catches the car, when the car stops, the dog doesn't know what to do with the car. You see. So in essence, they'll have to leave. They'll get bored. Okay. So, one thing in the mental space of what's going on with, the enforcement of the separation of man and woman, we definitely don't need to be looking at each other as beings who have plans to attack. What does happen is through the comfortability that is attained in between you and your mate, pettiness will arise, and throughout the course of pettiness, a declaration of war may arise. I told you don't be eating my food out the refrigerator. Why you got to put your socks in this drawer? Why don't you da 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 da? When you have, the whole love energy has decreased, new things have introduced into the relationship to decrease the value of your sexual relationship with each other. So then we have to find, do we have the skill of maintenance, which everything on this planet is found in the areas of maintenance. Okay. And ladies, as I stated, you know the man's masculinity and dominance needs to be maintained, and he's going to exercise that on you, with orders and demands around the house, and also sexual activity. But then after time, things wane. So what you need to do is bring in a little chicken for the slaughter to maintain his level of dominance, and then you won't believe on how he's going to be quick to put that ring on your finger. He's going to be so quick to get you the Rolls Royce. He's going to be so quick to make sure that you're walking on the marble floors, whether you slaughter the chicken with him or not. You have brought home a chicken for your man to slaughter so he can maintain his dominance. And you best believe he's going to buy flowers. He's going to do everything to the extreme levels, not only because of the rarity of the type of woman that he has who can achieve such feat and be comfortable within her own self-esteem, and also knowing that no other woman is being loved on the status of what you're being loved by your man. You see what I'm saying? So he's going to also enforce that your feminine dominance is ruled. I mean, out here in the world, and female dominance is exercised by having the biggest ring on the finger amongst other women. You see, men maintain their dominance over women, and females maintain their dominance over women. And the reason being, and the females maintain their dominance over women in several different areas. Okay. So one area will be, the attained great beast. She has the Samson. Okay. She controls the strongest, and in essence, it's not necessarily a control, but she has attained the strongest and wildest man out here in the world. And this wildest man, who is great killer and warrior and soldier, will open up doors for her. He will put on the glass slipper on the foot. Okay, he will pull out the chair when she sits down at the table. He has been conditioned into the status of gentleman by her encouragement, and also because he is the most feared and revered, and also he has the highest level of finances. This exemplification of worship towards the woman is the top tier and the attainment of the highest of the hierarchy amongst females. That's why women want to be out in public with you. You see, they want to be out in public with you to brag or to reinforce their hierarchy status amongst other women. And they understand that because women are the most beautiful entities on the planet. And if we was to drop down to the uterus and alien level, the uterus versus alien, the uterus alien level is that because this woman has designed all the other beings on the planet. Okay. So because of that, the humans are the highest of the hierarchy when it comes to the existence of all living beings on the planet. She has to attain this status at the hierarchy with the level of finances from her mate, and also from the social status symbols like the diamonds and the jewelry and the so on and the cars and the so on and so forth. This is what Beyonce is. This is also what a Rihanna is, right? This is also what the Taylor Swift is, right? They all represent that status, and part of the representation of that status is having a man who is in the higher financial league, so which is dominant in that area. So that's definitely the space for Beyonce. But Rihanna exemplifies a different situation because Rihanna's ASAP Rocky does not have the finances that are comparable with Rihanna, nor does ASAP Rocky have the finances that's comparable with a Jay-Z. But ASAP Rocky has attained a higher status than the average male, for number one. For number two, he is the conditions that he is being shown in and the light that he is being shown in is what? The do boy, the father. He is the do boy. He's pushing around the stroller and doing all the do boy status, which reinforces the view upon Rihanna to be the quote unquote boss bitch. Do you see how that works? Okay. So there's a lot of social dynamics going on here. Okay. So but these things are good. If and this is what you see with the Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton situation as well. They've stayed at top. They've stayed on top, and wherever they go, they are at, full respect level, regardless of the meat that Hillary Clinton turned a blind eye to when Clinton got caught with the Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Oral Office, okay, and the stain on the dress. Do you understand? She stayed down, and it's sort of correlated with me and my homie. It's funny the conversation went to this lane, but let's continue. Me and my homie was talking about, how Kobe Bryant modeled his whole thing after Jordan. And then we started to talk about how, what happened with Kobe Bryant and his parents. And his parents were mad that Kobe chose a Spanish woman. Supposedly, this was the divide on why Kobe, didn't continue on with the assistance or connection with his parents, even though his father was in the basketball and definitely passed down the genetics of being in that realm, and also took him around as a child, Kobe Bryant, to learn several languages and experience the planet. And what occurred is that Kobe Bryant's father grew up in a generation just like Cookie Johnson from Magic Johnson, just like Bill Cosby and his wife, just like Bill Clinton and his wife, where their women stayed down. Do you understand that? Okay. And there was a generational change within between Kobe Bryant's parents and what Kobe Bryant was facing with the capabilities and the attitudes and the actions of black women in his generation. Kobe Bryant was going to find, just like a multitude of the other individuals of his generation, wasn't going to find a woman that was going to stay down in the same space that his father was able to find a woman that was going to stay down through the thicks and thins, you see. And this is also in comparison to West Coast and East Coast rappers. West Coast goes through a lot more drama and trauma than what East Coast goes through. So when it comes to what happens in the streets, when it comes to, a defense against the police and, wars in the hood and in and out of jail and all of that shit, where their women are going to stay down because they always understand that they're, when a drama is started, a drama is also going to have an end. It may be a 20-year cycle, it may be a 10-year cycle, it may be a 2-day cycle, but the drama is going to see an end. And their women stayed down, all the West Coast rappers. The East Coast rappers' women did not stay down. Okay, majority of them left during the course of some beef. The majority of them didn't provide the rappers with so-called children and shit. And it looks very bad on the New York throne. But the West Coast throne ain't got those problems. And the reason being is because they go through a lot more drama and trauma. And not only that, if you go deep into the realm, especially shouts out to Ice Cube and his new song, It's My Ego, he used Al Green as a sample. And if we go through the West Coast realm on both the Black and Hispanic side, they have far more respect towards older music than what any other location of this country has right now. Okay. Especially, there was a debate that came up about a year or 2 years ago where Hispanics were saying, nigga, we appreciate, 60s and 70s black music more so than what black people do. Heavy debate. Heavy debate. And the gangsters and the pimps of the West Coast, they stay down with that type of music, and that type of music definitely solidifies and sustains a better connection in the things that they go through, as groups, cliques, gangs, individuals, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that boils back to um, you know, I guess, yeah, that is the true line of simplicity, of keeping things simple. It's called maintenance. And if you don't have maintenance, and if you don't put maintenance on your vehicle, if you don't put maintenance on your mate and in your relationship, it's going to crumble. Okay. Everything in this world is based upon maintenance. When you get up here in your late 30s and 40s, what will you have to do in order to survive and ensure longer life and clarity of the mind? You will have to exercise consistently. It's called maintenance. Maintenance of your own body. Bathing is maintenance. And a lot of people don't even do that nowadays. You understand? So maintenance is a key thing that I definitely try to teach my children, but maintenance is definitely a thing that's better taught on a farm and when it comes to living in the wild, and living in a lot more foliage and greenery scenery around you. Maintenance is definitely a mandate, which keeps the back strong, which keeps the health going. So, if you don't have maintenance of things, you can forget about it. If your woman doesn't understand maintenance of a relationship, which any individual who grows up in a single parent household doesn't understand maintenance of a relationship, which requires affection, which requires understanding, which requires listening. And in a single parent household, you're just dealing with demands being given. You're not hearing the ups and downs of what you want to say arguments, nor do you hear the healing and the forgiving that may come after arguments and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? So we need to stop with this mentality of being cold is the superior way, because it is not in reality. When you understand karma, which is a very real thing on this planet, and that's why the majority of your saints and your majority of your preachers and the majority of your businessmen were prior gangsters, is because they experienced that karma space. And what they even have on the internet world, they have a thing called instant karma videos, where you go do some dumb shit, pow, right there, then broke the leg because you're a dumbass. You understand? And you did not have a brain that mathematically concluded your cons and your pros to a situation. You went into it blindly, and then you got affected in a very major way that may take 10, 15, 20 years for you to get out of now because you're a dumbass. And that is the way your parents set you up to be. So you have to watch out for that line too, because the lack of love in an individual definitely comes from their parents, and that also gives us a pure definition that you're a worthless being. You come from bad blood. 9 times out of 10 you're going to produce bad blood. And this is royal understanding, and people shouldn't have any royal understanding nowadays. You have been raised to have the Tom and Jerry understanding. the Ren and Stimpy, the Beavis and the Butthead. Your generation is motherfucking Garbage Pail Kids, and that's where you should be. That's how Obama just came at us, talking to us like, oh yeah, you are dumbass, you are a Disney Nickelodeon kid, so you fucking vote the way we tell you to vote, and because you're black, you should be thinking in a racial perspective, and you should be going with the simple identity politics that have been provided, because you're fucking stupid. And this is government, that's how they're talking to you. It's very clear, because they didn't give us the details of Western civilization and how it was operating. They told you Turkey. They told you we sat down with the Indians. The Indians had feathers in their hair, and the pilgrims wore big black hats. And we just sat down and had a turkey together, and everything was pleasant, my dude. Okay, that's what they told you. So basically, if they're telling you that, they understand clearly that we want you to be a dumbass. You are a dumbass. Okay, and you know, they don't expect you to do any digging through any books of history. They don't expect you to have the balls to bring any form of consequence for their acts in the past. You know what I'm saying? And they don't expect you to do this because they've observed your native ancestors to have such, pleasantness, and to approach everything with an optimistic mind frame, and we're all going to sit down and sing kumbaya and dance around in a circle and pick the fruits from the tree. Well, now you have to buy those fruits in the grocery store, and any fruits that are extinct or any animals that are extinct that used to be connected to you will be in a museum. The ones that are alive, we will put them in a zoo, and we will charge you to view entities and things that used to be around you for free. You understand? Because you have a drive to see it and be explorative in the mind. We don't want you to be, you are conditioned to the Walmart, and you should be thinking way past Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Here's a question. This is a very good one. What other social changes do you see the internet making in society? It's not really the internet that's making it in society. What's happening is that the internet is now the big cauldron. Okay, it is the big pot of brewing of social engineering. And guess what? Because before the internet, it was just TV. It was just TV and the radio station. Okay. And now this internet has been developed. And what we have to understand is that the social engineering that's dumped into the internet for your influence is exclusively by majority rule coming from Caucasians. Okay, this is going to be your FBI, your CIA, and then you have your anonymous groups, and your anonymous groups are going to be, the little white kids that are making crazy ass memes, or that are bringing information to you about, deep areas of masonry or deep areas of conspiracy theories to break down your attention span. The majority of the propaganda that's inside the internet is specifically designed to slow you down from your own production, for number one. For number two, it will not allow the creativity of your production because you are mimicking what you see the in the social media or in the internet realm. And then for number three, we're also going to break down the creativity by having you related to the synthetic, in which the internet is an ethernet, which is synthetic atmosphere. Okay, so with synthetic atmosphere, you're going to be attached to it or attracted to it by being installed with synthetic chemicals, which is going to be your color dyes and other chemicals that are in food, and other chemicals that are in your soaps, and your fabric softener, and in your fabric cleaner, and all of those type of things. You're filled with the fake chemical, so you're going to be connected to the fake world, which is the internet. you know the internet can only influence society by what society accepts from the internet. And then you will have minor groups who accept minor things, and they will also try to enforce those minor things amongst the major groups out of their own guilt trip of being a weirdo, which the word weird by in essence means fate. So that means your fate, or what the ending of you is going to be. So watch out with that word weird. But there's a lot of, like they want to bring in the furries. And you already know that this is social backwardness. So out of their guilt trip of feeling or involving themselves into social backwardness, they will try to enforce it on other people. Okay, so this is where your furries and the dumbass comes from. This is where your what is it, your comic con comes from, the dumbass. You think you want to walk around like the Spider-Man and the Superman, when we don't look at the metaphysics of what happened with the first Superman, I think it was, who fell off the horse. I remember this happened. um he fell off the horse and he was paralyzed from the neck down, from falling off of a horse, you know. And I remember my mom used to look at that shit like, look at that nigga. With that bullshit. You thought you was Superman, now your ass paralyzed for out here trying to defeat or trying to make a mockery out of the human space and what our capabilities are. Okay. And trying to mess around with an illusion space to attract people into an area that is unachievable. Okay, which is definitely what we're doing now. So it's just like the introduction of robots into society. And the majority of people are too stupid to recognize that the internet, or what we call the Ethernet or Skynet, is actually the mind for all robots. The majority of people aren't going to connect. They're not going to say, "Oh, the internet is the mind, and the robot is the physical entity," and it will be the humans who bring in the physical entity of the robot, and not only by creation but also by consumerism. And they will do this for social status symbols. That's all they're doing it for, you know, because in essence, the laziness that is going to a new level of laziness, which is going to occur after the purchasing of robots, is actually going to encourage disease, sickness, obesity, and a lot of other things, because the human is actually designed to work, because that work also counter reacts as health. It keeps you healthy to work physically and psychologically. Okay. So always be wary of those individuals who say they don't want to think right now. Thinking is basically the putting your brain in the gym. Reading books is putting your brain in the gym. Okay. So that's what thinking is. And that's why those who think in the areas of complexity get the higher levels of finances. Okay. And especially those who can think at a mass point of turning or finding the simplicity with inside complexity. Okay. Or on the outside of complexity. You and compensate complexity and make it simple. There's ways to do that. you know just like that's what I did with the Kicked Out of Heaven and how it's designed. Same with the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women. I put complexity into a simplicity space. you know because there was a lot of fat that wasn't needed, and that fat created confusion. It created sickness and a neglect. And that's with the usage of big words. It's also with footnotes. It's with the way you do your bibliography and your references and all of this other stuff. And then also with the provision of pictures that I put inside my books, it turned complex subjects into a simple uh, capacity for understanding. You know, um, yeah, the age of Aquarius is the age of AI. Actually, the age of AI is supposed to be after Aquarius, which is supposed to be the age of Capricorn. And that's in the next 2500 years or something like that. So the real area of the robots taking over the planet is going to be later. But in order for us to introduce robots into this dimension, man and woman are definitely in a space to neglect each other and deny each other. And the first space of denying each other is the exception of pets. To replace another human with a pet is the most perverse and the outrageous, and also It is definitely a lack of the of health. I mean, you got to think about it. So you go to work 8 hours a day. You leave your dog and your cat at home. And even if you leave them in a cage, they shit and piss during the course of the 8 hours. So when you come home, you open up your front door to your home. That's the first smell you get hit with is animal shit and piss. Like, what type of fucking disgusting ass shit is that? And this is the place where you sleep. And then if you observe the air, you put a magnifying glass in the air, you will see the shit, the fucking worms and the hair floating in the air. You know what I'm saying? And just it's repulsive, and they do this out of a desire to need to give commands to a being that cannot quote unquote fight back there. And this is also the status of the single parent, is the desire to control and the desire to be the dictator. A single parent is a dictator. A person who has pets is automatically a dictator, because you are giving demands and commands that cannot be fought against, it cannot be revolted against, and then you will automatically implement violence on beings who are dependent upon you and cannot say anything back. But you better watch out, because the animal realm is definitely picking up this type of energy by mass hysteria. And we have read a multitude of cases lately of dogs attacking their owners and mauling their owners to death. I ran into too many cases of this shit, where you thought you was trying to be gangster in the streets because you got the pit bull, and that pit bull ripped your goddamn foot off with your stupid shit. And it's going on. So whatever. If you think a fucking stink animal, I could never replace the love that I've felt in relationships with women by a fucking pet. It'll never be supplanted. You know. Um it'll never be replaced. Never. And there's no area in my brain. I'll try and achieve that again with a beautiful lady than try to replace it with a fucking cat or a fucking dog in my house. Have you lost your mind? I've even been offered pets before by women. I'm like, nah, nigga, I'll never replace it. I'm not finna be at the grocery store talking about, oh, I gotta think about old stink ass animal and put old stink ass food in my cart. You lost your goddamn mind. And that type of mentality, yes, it does bring a despising, because dealing with a woman who's breathing in dog or animal scent all goddamn day. You may bring her to your house, nigga. When she pulls off them drawers and she bend over, nigga, you gonna get a whiff of great animal zoo. Petco will fill the room. Do you understand me? You will smell the Petco. You will smell, the dog park. You understand? That is what's going on. And fuck all of that. I'll never do that shit. That shit is wild to me. But women go to those extent, and they find the love within the stench, because there are stenches that they produce that they want to feel relatable. They want something that can relate. That isn't going to judge them, quote unquote, when they're judging a nigga by his shoes and they won't talk to the nigga. They judging a nigga by his hairstyle and won't talk to the nigga. So shut your hypocritical ass the fuck up. And that's just the bottom line to that. you know. But yeah, it's about the end of the video. Y'all let me know what y'all got some questions. The brother here, Team Green. I told you to hit me up, bro. Let's talk on some music, bro. This brother right here, Team Green, did a lot of beats on an early album of mine. Which album was that? That was the Monster album, as a matter of fact. The Monster album was a couple of those beats go to this brother right here. He says, go in and do another Join Us. Now, a lot of people like that Join Us video. I could upload it, but I'm not going to upload that shit, man. That's past a lot of people's understanding. A lot of Negroes want to be into this mentality. Oh, I love my people, and, black, bliggity black, when black ain't did shit for you, nigga. The majority of the inventions and the clothes that you wear every day ain't structured by no black people. And if it is, even if it is invented or patented by black people, it damn sure wasn't mass produced and distributed and marketed and advertised for your liking. And I'm never going to remove that there are black, and there is a little millennium drop in all of these different avenues, because there is, but in majority rule, when it comes to our experience here in America, we get attacked by niggas more so than we get attacked by anybody else. So I can't fully support that mentality like that. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, if you're in a black picture, you're just by yourself, and you might as well get accustomed with that now. Don't lie to yourself, and there's going to be some great dream of marching and stomping some goddamn where, you can forget about it, my nigga. And the main reason being is because we're too comfortable with our conditions, and we don't demand greater. We don't demand greater. Um, and until we understand that mentality of demanding greater, and until we start until we earn, I mean, not earn, but until we develop a collective mass hysteria psyche to despise levels of goofiness and honor our comedians, because a comedian is definitely an individual that's born amongst all groups. There needs to be an alleviation of the stresses of the day. We definitely understand that. But the level of goofiness and the level of interruption that we have amongst each other, especially generationally, is a fucking problem. And the channeling that was done for that Join Us video, nah, I'm good. That was way past a lot of people's understanding. And for those who like the Neanderthal, what they don't understand, they're going to attempt to destroy and attack. And that has occurred with me, even with just doing videos, period, because a lot of black males don't understand a black male that loves intelligence and will share his thoughts with others. That is not a space of the collective black male understanding. The collective black male understanding damn near expects, and if they don't expect it, they will mandate it, demand it, that other people be on the same level of intelligence that they're on, which is minimal. Okay. There is a large expectation amongst the black culture for everybody to have a high school understanding. And for those who don't have the high school understanding, and for those who have the collegiate levels and graduate out of our universities here in America and abroad, they will stay amongst those levels. Okay. Yeah. New York Liberty won. I put money on that game. So the brother just stated here. He just joined the stream late today, but wanted to say I was right about the New York winning the games. Yeah, there's a rhythm within the whole sports book thing, but like I said, join the Money Religion Locals .locals.com, and I'll be going into that. So just join now. Give me some time. We'll be doing all the privatized videos over there relative to the stock market, and also the the sports book. You know. Let's go into this statement right here. Rome pacified the urban mob by giving out free perks for entertainment, which is now Hollywood today. Yes, exactly. Now, what's interesting about the times of Rome or Greece or ancient Egypt or whatever, when it comes to ancient civilizations and tribes, the populace was not educated. And it was stated that the populace was stupid because of the lack of their availability for, you know, a higher form of education, or to educate and intellectualize themselves. But now that we have the internet, which information is available to everybody, we can't necessarily say that now. It's a new judgment that has to be brought against why the human mandates to stay retarded. Okay. um that's one reason why I won't live in the South anymore, because once it hit me that people will fight to protect their stupidity, in certain things, I just, is I the value is depreciated for that realm. okay, of the country. And but I mean, I've also encountered that room in many other areas of the country. So that's where the depreciation, the value depreciated for the human overall, you know. Some people will fight to stay stupid, and you know, they like that status because the status of the stupidity allows them to be connected with others, and a lot of people desire that connection with others. And even though the intellectuals will have connections with other intellectuals, so it's just a different thing, you know what I'm saying? But you know, and that's definitely where women find their dominance at, is in the capacity that they're listened to, and you know what they want to be heard. And the reason it being they're want to depend on that is because whatever they say, they just come out of their mouth with simple logic. And the only way they could be heard is when men are stupid. So when men don't have a sound understanding on human behavior, and also the philosophies of old to develop philosophies of new, then they can operate. The women can operate better around men who are not intellectually sound. And that's why the video games have been put in front of you. That's why there's been excessive twerking over the past 20 years. But that's also what, you know, Europeans and the rulers of this nation understand too. You know, as long as the poverty is kept, we can't really say entertained nowadays. We have to call it a distraction. That, you know, these distractions, because if you look at the activity of the infants, you know, babies are automatically scientists. They test things in a scientific format, you know. So that is a natural inclination for us all, but that has to be broken by quote unquote distractions. Twerking is a distraction, video games is a distraction, and there's a lot of other distractions out here that are colorful and bright, you know, in order to you know, deter you away from you know, self sustenance, and gaining that through intellectual feats. You know, so yeah, that's where it lies. And I definitely appreciate y'all coming through today. You know, I'm about to go ahead and shut it down now. 2 o'clock tomorrow, we're gonna go through some beautiful things in the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women. So for those who already have the books, if you want to go ahead and write up questions or pose questions tomorrow, it'll definitely be the time to do that. Um, Go ahead and don't forget to donate to the God 720, because I'm the only one here doing this for you, and we must resuscitate. We have to you know, keep some air in the lungs to keep me here, you know. Um, and if there's any questions for Kicked Out of Heaven as well, you can bring that up tomorrow. I'll definitely entertain those questions at all times. Entertain any questions written in any of my books. So, you know, go ahead and donate. As I stated, I'm the only one doing this. I'm the only one giving you this level of game, because everybody else is um, doing what the Lord designated for them to do. You know, I was just designed to do what the fuck I'm doing. So, you know, but we have to turn it up a notch. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is with your support. So let's not be a leech. Let's not be a parasite. Let's not try to use me as a host. So you can go out there in the world and poke your chest out, you know, with things that another man has studied. Let's not operate like that. You know, I give this game for you to, you know, be able to demand respect when you leave your home. That is basically, and that's male, female alike, you know. So I definitely, once again, appreciate you for showing up today, and be here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. As I stated, donate, buy the books. They're still on sale. They'll be on sale for a long time here until they're all gone, but we have to get rid of them now, now, now. And all the money that you donate is going towards building the empire that the brother said I was right in. New York was on a winning streak in all sports. Okay. And the New York Liberty, shouts out to them. WNBA won this weekend. You dig what I'm saying? And as a matter of fact, I'll close out by showing you this real quick. This shit got me mad, y'all. Watch this shit. So I did place this bet, but I didn't place it on the right app. I got several apps I use because I'm in Vegas, and Vegas has 68 different sports books. Okay, so let me show you this shit on what happened this weekend. It's got me upset at the world right quick. Okay, so I chose the LA Dodgers, the New York Liberty, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers were an underdog. Okay, and I bet on them. But I didn't make the major bet, which is through this promotion on this app, right? So this is what I would have made. Let's see if it focuses in. See that? $250 would have made $1,700, okay, on a bet that I was right on. I was right on Dodgers, Liberty, and Steelers, which I made that same bet, but on a different app. And $250 into $1,700 off of making some decisions on the app by understanding the mathematics of how the teams are set up and what's going on with the politics. Nigga, please, I'm finna get this dough, and I want you to get the dough with me. So definitely what's going on in this realm with donations is assisting that line. You dig what I'm saying? So I can play around a little bit and figure out a golden brick road for the both of us, for all of us. You dig what I'm saying? And that's the point. So y'all get at me. I'll be here tomorrow. Let's get this money. All right. Peace. Let me do a money song real quick. Let me see here. Let me see here. Yeah, let's do this one. Peace. I'm out of here.
I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. Ever seen a fallen angel? Ball at every angle. The black Constantine smoking on dopamine. I've been reminiscing about the things that I've seen. You gotta crack a couple skulls to get the fatty. Experience will aid you, and that's literally. For the mills, your neck goes in the guillotine. Don't think that they politics is gonna stop me. I know how to get rid of a body properly. Bend the block and see the untold history. Where shit looks like gold, but it's only glittery. Till I'm old and shivering, the OG is hustling. Diamonds is Tuscany, 100 M's is what I need. So who gotta plead? I sign and agree, then slide on Pirellis. Nigga, you gon' smell me, and that's every fucking time. A man sipping moonshine. The God 720 Naga lost his fucking mind. I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. Pass the collection plate. You can't change your fate. Stay on a paper chase. Rubber bands and big face. The last outlaw versus the United States. Choose your words wisely. There's a lot at stake. You gonna step inside the shit that you make. That's out there's a baby. Amongst the lost and crazy. The motto is always fuck you, pay me. But maybe your talk will cost. When you cross a boss, we make the sign of the cross. I can feel it in the air, yo, something is off. Just like his head, don't do as I do, just do as I said. It's the order of the streets, put some blood on your bread. For communion, the dollars are recruiting while you hollering and hooting. Just focus on the bag, never mind the tech shooting. The drops are made for cruising. Smile in your coffin and you won't be looking stupid. I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. I've been stacking my wins and then I balance my sins. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. She said I'm handsome as fuck. I said, what's up? I'm trying to hand you some fuck. So back that dump truck up and let me see what your mama gave you. Hopefully, I'm your savior and you the wifey with no ink on the paper. Save the thinking for later. She wink at a player. She knows the multiple layers. She wants to go to the dragon's house just to see the layer. Bragging to her girlfriends just to see who's greater. The rubies are minor, the diamonds are major. Sipping margaritas with the strawberry flavor. Just don't spill shit on my blazer and keep your composure. The night is young and the show ain't over. You can call me Mr. Lucky or the 4-leaf clover while I'm rolling the dice. Scotch neat, please. The cold don't need ice. I compliment even though she ain't my type. I know you heard the words, but please don't believe the hype. Cause only the nerds be concerned with they can't pay the price. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. Hey. It's kinda hard just to get to the bar because I'm known as the star. Is it my charm or is it the car? Let's not go that far because I go too deep. Sometimes you get bored when your pockets be too steep because a player don't creep and people go out their way just to speak. And ladies giving me the eye like she's a certified freak. I've been around the block, but I act like she's unique. Spend it out on the rooftop because I'm reaching my peak. Waiting on the waitress. Where the fuck are my drinks? Excuse my French. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You never seen an MVP just sit on the bench, and VIPs don't network with the worthless. Got a whiff of the Garden of Eden from under her dress, and when she get attention from me, she know that she blessed. It's just one of them nights, and I must confess, I am over the bullshit because I pass every test. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks. 10K on the tux, looking like $1 million bucks.